What if you could make the decision easy for people to buy more with your price book? Look, it's possible. In fact, we've done this with hundreds of plumbing companies, and we've taught them something called value stacking. Value stacking is a skill that really helps the customer see the value of investing into their home instead of expensing a problem. Meaning, when your HVAC or plumbing or home services company comes to their house, customers want to spend the least amount of money, but they want to get the biggest return on investment. And so how do you do that? How do you show them that return on investment? Well, the pricing structure and the pricing strategy align with something that's really been around forever. And that is 3 different margins when it comes to being able to generate profit. Now, if you think about the convenience store model, they basically have tons of items. They're selling convenience. We can go in there and get small volume purchases at high margin expense so that we can meet our convenience needs. Meaning, I don't just want a drink, but I want a cold drink. And I don't just want any cold drink. I want the cold drink that I like. And so they have to store thousands of drinks in their store, always ready for me to come in and buy one. But when I buy that one soda, or that one energy drink, I'm typically paying 1.5 to 2 times more than I would anywhere else, sometimes even 3 or 4 times more, just so that I can get it in convenience. Now, I can park basically at the front door. I'm gonna walk into the store and be with 3 minutes away from walking into that store, getting my items, and I'm back into my car and on my way back wherever I was headed. And that's convenience, higher margin, lower volume. The second one is the grocery store model. That's where I might go in there and buy my favorite drink, but instead of buying one, I buy a 4-pack or a 6-pack, or maybe even a 12-pack. I might get crazy and buy a 24-pack. And the bigger the volume of package that I buy, the cheaper per item that I get it for. Now, I have to spend more money, but I'm spending less per item. And we see people do this time and time again. We no longer need the drink to be cold. We'll keep them cold ourselves. We're not trying to drink that drink on the way home. We're going to drink that at home with our friends and family. And so the purchase and application becomes different. Therefore, we buy in volume and we save money. Now, when I go to a convenience store, a high bill can be anywhere between $20 to $40 at a convenience store. But if I go to a grocery store, my bill is going to be more like $100 to $200. Then that leads me to Costco. Now, if you think about back to the convenience store, I might buy a small serving of milk. Maybe just a little 16-ounce bottle of cold chocolate milk or regular milk. If I go to the grocery store, I might buy a whole gallon. If I go to Costco, I might buy the cow. Now, I'm joking, but you get the point. The idea is that we're buying so much in volume. When I was younger, I did stand-up comedy, and I used to say things like, who goes to Costco and buys a keg of Gatorade? But the reality is Costco is selling high volume at low margin. Now, they're a billion-dollar industry, and so is the grocery store, and so is the convenience store. So it's not that one's more profitable than the other, it's just the reality that the convenience store doesn't have as much capacity as Costco. And so Costco can house more things, store more things, allowing us to buy more things. We're no longer expensing away the day, but we're investing. We're buying pallets of stuff instead of cartons of stuff. And instead of cartons of stuff, we're buying individual items at the convenience store. And you can see the progression of price. A Red Bull at Costco is probably 75 cents to $1. A Red Bull at the convenience store is probably $4. But even the convenience store understands volume, and they might say, buy 2, get 1 free. And now you've just bought 3 in one purchase, getting a lower price point per item. Now that's a mouthful and a lot to understand, but man, do you need to understand this. Because here's how it fits right into your home service company. If your technician is going to the home and doing one minor repair, selling just 1 Red Bull, well, now they need to sell that Red Bull for $4. But on the other hand, if they go to the home and sell an entire 5-course meal, well, they might be able to give the Red Bull away for free. I'll give you an example. If I'm going to a home and doing a basic maintenance on an HVAC unit, or I'm going to a home and doing a basic flush on a water heater, I'm going to need to charge probably not enough, but I'm going to need to charge something for that time. But if all of a sudden that turns into a new water heater or a new HVAC unit, I no longer care about making money on the maintenance. We went out there for the maintenance, and I needed to get every dollar I could as an owner. But the second that turned into a volume call, I no longer needed to make dollars on every single action. And this is the big mistake I see with pretty much every strategy. We say things to our techs like, hey, look, on the first item, charge them full price, and on the second, third, and fourth item, give them 10% off. Now, sometimes that 10% off isn't enough to move the needle for the customer. And sometimes the techs rearrange the items and accidentally give 10% off of the big item. And then we have ourselves a margin problem. So either it's not enough to get people to convert, or it's not enough to be profitable. And therein lies the problem. And how do we make that decision in the moment? We have a calculator that you can download on the Apple App Store called the Plumbing Sales Coach. It's a calculator that breaks down pricing. You plug in the hours and the material, and it will show you how to do it. In fact, in another video that we have, we break all this down for you and show you how to use the calculator, how to go from retail to wholesale margins. And that's what we're really talking about, right? Is the difference between a retail price at the convenience store, or maybe even a retail price at the grocery store at a slightly different percentage, or a wholesale price at Costco. Maybe this is no different than when you're doing contractor work where maybe you get a contractor that comes in and says, hey, can you replumb 12 of the homes, or can you remodel 12 of the homes? You might be at a different price point with that customer, that contractor, than you are with just one customer that just wants one remodel. Volume is what we're all after, as long as it's profitable volume. Sometimes we have to reduce the margin to increase the volume. And with consumers, every day of the week, that's going to be one of the main things that they're focused on. Look, there's three things that will change the buying habits of a consumer. One is values, meaning their own personal moral compass, their values. We've seen Bud Light, we've seen Target, we've seen Chick-fil-A, and we've seen Starbucks endure the ups and downs of values and how people can change their buying habits. The second one is an experience. Anytime an experience comes into play, FOMO comes into play. Like you getting invited to a party that's only going to happen once a year, you may go even though you don't feel like it. FOMO kicks in. An experience can change our buying habits. You're walking down the beach, you and your lovely spouse, bride, partner in life, and you see someone on the beach hand drawing photos of the sunset and people. You didn't plan on having your picture drawn. You didn't plan on spending 20 bucks, but you might give that individual 20 bucks to draw your picture. And it changes like that because of an experience. And the last one is deals. We need to look no further than Black Friday. People used to stand in the freezing cold and rain just to get a deal. People were mobbing and stepping on people just to get a deal. Deals will absolutely affect people's buying habits. There are literal ecosystems built off deals. Kohl's has Kohl's Cash. Hobby Lobby has half the store on sale this week. The other half will be on sale next week. Every time we see any kind of Costco option, it's always done in volume, and that is a deal. This is the power of the human mind. If you can figure out value stacking, you can figure out these three pricing tiers, you can become more flexible in the home, and then you can take people from just wanting to expense their problem and now invest into their problem. And not only that, one final little bonus, the more people spend, if they're getting more for their money, the longer the reviews they leave and the more excited they are to share their story. No one tells anyone about the new tires they just had repaired, but everyone tells everyone about the new rims they just got on their car. There's a power behind that, and there's a reason behind that. You didn't tell anyone about your new transmission you got rebuilt, but you tell everyone about the new car you bought. That's what you want to do, is create stories in the marketplace by understanding these pricing tiers so that the customers that are willing to invest will, and then they'll get excited and tell the world. Okay, so obviously with pricing tiers, we need to understand the volume, which is the amount of hours that we're going to be working. And in this video right here, we break down how to build up those hours for your technicians so you have a consistent price book for all of your customers.